Sorry for mistakes. When I was a kid, I used to think that pork chops and karate chops were the same thing. I thought they were both pork chops. And because my grandmother thought it was cute and because they were my favorite, she let me keep doing it. Not really a big deal. One day, before I realized fat kids are not designed to climb trees, I fell out of a tree and bruised the right side of my body. I didn't want to tell my grandmother about it because I was afraid that I'd get in trouble for playing somewhere that I shouldn't have been. A few days later, the gym teacher noticed the bruises and I got sent to the principal's office. From there, I was sent to another small room with a really nice lady who asked me all kinds of questions about my life. I saw no reason to lie. As far as I was concerned, life was pretty good. I told her whenever I'm sad, my grandmother gives me karate chops. This led to a full-scale investigation, and I was removed from the house for 3 days until they finally decided to ask how I got the bruises. News of this silly little story quickly spread through the school, and I earned my first nickname, Pork Chop. To this day, I hate pork chops. I'm not the only kid who grew up this way, surrounded by people who used to say that rhymes about sticks and stones, as if broken bones hurt more than the names we got called, and we got called them all. Because we grew up believing that no one would ever fall in love with us, that we'd be lonely forever, that we'd never meet someone to make us feel like the sun was something they built for us in their tool shed, so broken heartstrings bled the blues. As we tried to empty ourselves so we could feel nothing. Don't tell me that hurts less than a broken bone, that an ingrown life is something surgeons can cut away, that there's no way for it to metastasize. It does. She was 8 years old on our first day of grade 3 when she got called ugly. We both moved to the back of the class so we could stop getting bombarded with spitballs, but the school halls were a battleground where we found ourselves outnumbered day after wretched day. We used to stay inside for recess because outside was worse. Outside we had to rehearse running away or learn to stay still like statues, giving no clues that we were there. In 5th grade, they taped a sign to her desk that read, "Beware of dog." To this day, despite a loving husband, she doesn't think that she's beautiful because of a birthmark that takes up little less than half her face. Kids used to say that she looked like a wrong answer, that someone tried to erase but couldn't quite get the job done, yet she'd never understand that she's raising 2 kids whose definition of beauty begins with the word mom, because they see her heart before they see her skin, that she's always been amazing. He was grafted onto a different family tree. He was a broken branch grafted onto a different family tree. Adopted, not because his parents opted for a different destiny, because he became a mixed drink of 1 part left alone and 2 parts tragedy. Started therapy in 8th grade and had a personality made up of tests and pills. Lived like the uphills were mountains and the downhills were cliffs. 4/5 suicidal. A tidal wave of antidepressants and an adolescence of being called pauper. 1 part because of the pills and 99 parts because of the cruelty. He tried to kill himself in 10th grade when a kid who still had his mom and dad had the audacity to tell him, "Get over it." As if depression is something that can be remedied by any of the contents found in a first aid kit. To this day, he's a stick of TNT lit from both ends. Could describe to you in detail the way the sky bends in the moment before it's all about to fall, and despite an army of friends who all call him an inspiration, he remains a conversation piece between people who can't understand. Sometimes becoming drug-free is less to do with addiction and more to do with sanity. We weren't the only kids who grew up this way. To this day, kids are still being called names. The classics were, "Hey stupid," "Hey spaz." Seems like each school has an arsenal of names getting updated each year, and if a kid breaks in a school and no one around chooses to hear it, do they make a sound? Or are they just background noise of a soundtrack stuck on repeat? When people say things like kids can be cruel, every school was a big top circus tent, and the pecking order went from acrobats to lion tamers, from clowns to carnies. All of these were miles ahead of who we were. We were freaks, lobster claw boys and bearded ladies, oddities, juggling depression and loneliness, playing solitaire, spin the bottle, trying to kiss the wounded parts of ourselves and heal. But at night, while the others slept, we kept walking the tightrope. It was practice, and yeah, some of us fell. But I want to tell him that all this shit is just debris. left over when we finally decided to smash all the things that we thought we used to be. And if you can't see anything beautiful about yourself, look a little closer, stare a little longer, because there's something inside of you that makes you keep trying. Despite everyone told you to quit, you built a caster on your broken heart and signed it yourself. You signed it. They were wrong. Because maybe you didn't belong in a group or a clique. Maybe they decided to pick you last for basketball or everything. Maybe you used to bring bruises and broken teeth to show and tell but never told, because how can you hold your ground if everyone around you wants to bury you beneath it? You have to believe that they were wrong. They have to be wrong. Why else would you still be here? We grew up learning to cheer on the underdog, because we saw ourselves in them. We stem from a root planted in belief that we are not what we are called. We are not abandoned cars stalled out and sitting empty on a highway, and if we are in some way, don't worry. We only got to walk out and get gas. We are the graduating members of the class that fuck off, we made it. Not the faded echoes of a voice crying out, names will never hurt me. Of course it did. But our lives will only ever always continue to be a balancing act that has less to do with pain and more to do with beauty.